What if we hit the griddy on the table? Is that even possible? This is probably really stupid. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tyler, also known as The Ches, and this is Chezzy Tunes, where I try to bring humor and entertainment to the EDM space. And it's time for some more Eptic. Where does it say it? Oh, down here. Eptic. Eptic. I think I own 3 Eptic shirts. I've owned more in the past, but I don't have them anymore. I outgrew them or they just got too dingy, but been an Eptic fan for a very long time. I think since the second EP he ever put out. So I am excited to digest some more Eptic. We are going to be checking out the brand new, freshly dropped DARKSTAR EP. The only caveat here is it is a 5-track EP, but 3 of them were already released as singles. So 3 out of the 5 songs I've technically already heard before. But that doesn't mean we can't go through and enjoy them one more time. It's front loaded with the 3 already released singles, and then we'll get into the 2 new ones. But I love me some Eptic. He's one of my favorite producers. I've always admired both his very unique style. Eptic sounds like Eptic and nobody else. He is his own person. He has his own flair and personality with his music. He's also a pretty goofy dude. I admire goofy people because I am a goofy person. And on top of all that, he does all of his own artwork and animations and like tour visuals and all of that stuff. And his branding is iconic. His branding is so good. And his merch is too. That's why I buy it all. It's great. So I'm very excited to check out his latest EP. So let's dive into this thing. The first song is Light Up with LYNY. I checked this out in one of my Tunes of the Week videos. So if you want to check it out, you can click it up there. That is my first technical reaction. So I have heard the song, but we'll give it another listen. I haven't listened to it in a bit, so I need a little refresher. Let's do this thing. There's a lot of noises, a lot of synths or synth styles that find themselves popping up in Eptic songs pretty frequently. So I love when you hear those throwback synths that are just Eptic classics. And also samples. There are certain samples that are quite prominent in Eptic's music. Yeah. It's good, man. It just feels like some classic Eptic. Yeah, see, he agrees too. This one's definitely on the more quirky side, the more silly side of Eptic's music, but those are honestly the ones that click with me the most. It would be very difficult for me to pick a favorite Eptic song, but I do tend to like the quirkier ones a lot of the time. Some of my favorites from the past have been Cosmic and Drumbeats, I think it's plural. They have a very silly tone to the synths in them, and I find them to be a lot of fun. I haven't really jammed out to an Eptic song in a while. Let's jam out a little bit. I don't even know how you're supposed to jam out to this. I am becoming slightly more amphibian as the song continues. I actually shot a little a dance video to Cosmic back when it came out. You should watch that. Yeah. Overall, I don't know if Light Up is one I would super frequently return to. I don't think it's got that banger aspect that some of my favorite Eptic songs do. Like if it came on while I was shuffling through music, I would listen to it, no question. But I don't think it would be near the top of the list of songs I would be seeking out to put on out of Eptic's catalog. But it's just a quality addition, a solid addition. Next up, we've got Alone with Habstrakt. Another one that I did my quick little reaction to in a previous Tunes of the Week video. So go check it out. What are you even doing? Watch my videos. Habstrakt, I think his style just meshes with Eptic's style so well. When they come together, it's got this bouncy energy that is really hard to not get wrapped up in. Let's go, baby. I'm all alone listening to this. Give it to me. It's that movement to the second little half here. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. I'd say the use of the more high-pitched synth, this synth here, isn't quite my style. I don't usually gravitate towards synths that are in that sort of register. But everything else keeps me engaged. It's not at the forefront of the song. It's also mixed in a way that is abrasive on the ears. Something else that Eptic does well is he doesn't always stick to one genre. Primarily, it's in the dubstep sector of music, but that's not all he does. I'd say most, if not all, of his EPs have at least one song that isn't in the dubstep subgenre space. Might be a little more upbeat, or might be a drum and bass song, or might be something even more experimental like She. So I like that you don't always know exactly what you're gonna get with Eptic in terms of genres, but it's always gonna have that Eptic presentation, that Eptic character to it. My only complaint with this song, which I mentioned when I first heard it as well, is it doesn't change it enough in this second drop here. It is more or less the same as the first drop. Given the length of it, I wish it did more with the second half of the song, but at least the drop itself has multiple sections. At least it keeps it moving within the drop, so. I'd say Alone is my favorite of the two, just because I think overall it gives me more excitement. It's a more fun experience to go through. It's more lively. It's more upbeat. It also just kind of does more for me in general in terms of the creativity, but it's hard to compare them given they give off such different energies. They're both very good in their own ways. But without a doubt, my favorite of the three singles is this next one, which is Crash Out, because Space Laces, I've already said it, is also one of my favorite producers, as well as pretty much everyone in the electronic music community's favorite producers, because he's just kind of got it like that. So Eptic and Space Laces together? What more could you want, people? I did do a full reaction to this already on the channel, so you can just watch that here. I'm just gonna go through this pretty quickly. This will be a pretty short segment. You can see my full initial thoughts on it in that video. It's a collab that does some of my favorite things where you can hear each person's piece. You can hear like, okay, this was most likely Eptic's doing. These synths are very Eptic-y. And then, oh, these synths are very Space Laces-y. But they feel still pretty cohesive. It feels like a coherent project, not completely two separate songs that just got thrown together. Let's go, baby. Oh, it hits you, baby. There's not a weak moment in this song, man. Oh, so I think it's safe to say most of that was Eptic. And then we get to the Space Laces portion, because he has, I don't even know how to describe Space Laces' sound design. It's got like a subtle, not even subtle, but a grit to it, while also having this like like weird liveliness, this weird movement to it. It's like a chaotic liquid, a chaotic gritty liquid, the gritty juice. So yeah, that one's just an absolute slapper front to back. There's not really a low moment or a weak moment. It just comes full force, swinging, great collab. The best collabs are between people that already have a distinct sound, a distinct signature. Sometimes it could be a bit odd because again, it can sound a little disjointed where it's like, okay, the first half is this person's song, the second half is this person's song, and they don't really talk with one another. It sounds like two completely different songs that just happen to be sharing the same space, but this one works. It sounds cohesive. If you weren't already familiar with Eptic and Space Laces and their styles and their sounds, it would just be a normal song for you. But for those that are familiar with Eptic and Space Laces' respective sounds, it's easy to tell which pieces are from which producer. So it rewards you. It rewards the fans, while also just being an absolute heater, an absolute tune, one might say. One might say that. I don't know who that one is, but someone might say that. But it is now time to move into some new stuff. Some stuff I have not heard at all. And that makes me very excited. It's also the end of the collabs. So this is just Eptic doing his own thing, flaunting his own stuff. And that's always fun. First up is Revenge. It's getting insane. A lot of Eptic songs and intros have this sort of like retro medieval castle video game vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but like exploring an old school video game dungeon. It's really infectious, and I like this synth. For like the deeper one. Bo 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 bo. Oh. Yeah, that's Eptic. What more can I say other than that's some Eptic right there? Yeah, there's little sounds that are like, again, very classic Eptic. Like I've heard these sounds in other Eptic songs. He's got that style. He's got it down. He knows who he is and what his music is, and I love that. Oh, yeah. Eptic also has some of the greatest catalog of samples. Always knows when to input them, when to give you a nice little hook that's gonna get in your memory. Yeah, this is cool. I like the vibe that this gives off. The intro and the bridge here. I am hoping the second drop changes it a bit though. Tweak some stuff, make the second drop a little bit different. It was a cool transition into it, but I feel like the drop is still more or less the same. I've actually never seen Eptic live, and I would really like to. I've heard Eptic songs played live, but I've not seen Eptic himself live. Keeping the style going into the outro, which I appreciate. Okay, I think that is just some solid Eptic work right there. I don't know if there's any piece of that. I don't know if there's any piece of the drop, I should say, that pushed me over the edge in terms of like, I love this. Ooh, I'm coming back to this one right away. But there wasn't anything about it that turned me off either. I think it's just right in the middle, just good, solid Eptic. The thing about Eptic that is always true, even pretty much since the beginning of the Eptic persona here, the Eptic alias, is the cleanliness, the professionalism of the mixdown. Very clean mixdowns, which is why I'd really love to see Eptic live, because some songs even, like, they have such clean mixdowns that they're not this loudness war that some other dubstep songs are. They're not like incredibly ferocious, in-your-face punch. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are. But sometimes they're a little more subtle, a little more like tastefully wrapped up in a little bow, just nice songs where you can play them for just about anyone. And even though the sounds are a little weird, a little unconventional for an average listener's ears, the mixdown isn't abrasive or overwhelming. It comes off as just clean music. So I would love to see how that translates live, because I'm sure you could probably actually tell what is happening with the music when it's coming out of the speakers, rather than it being just this wave of noise if things are cranked up too high with some other songs. So definitely want to see you live soon, Eptic. I'm going to keep an eye on your tour schedule if you come back to the US. But yeah, Crash Out is still my favorite so far, but that one is what I expect from Eptic. But the final track here, another one that I have not heard yet, we end with Forcefield. Doesn't immediately strike me as an Eptic song with this intro, which is interesting. Okay, well, until you start hearing some samples. Okay. That synth is a little more Eptic in nature. It's wild how you can immediately just, oh yeah, that's an Eptic song now that we're getting into. Anyway, I think I've glazed him enough. Let's take this in. Whoa. Ooh, the sub? Yeah. The range of like the styles that we've gotten on this EP for only 5 tracks is pretty solid. Ooh, that little percussion in there. Yeah, I love the way that comes in. You don't expect a drop like that with an intro like this. You know what I'm saying? The drums had that punch to them. Bass had that grit to it. But please, change up the second drop. That's one thing we've been lacking with a lot of the songs. You still keep the quality throughout. You change the transition into the drop a little bit, but I want an actual different drop. It sounds kind of dog barky in nature, which is an Eptic staple, to be fair. Oh. Yeah, I like that. I don't know, it's like almost a gunshot. It's just a subtle difference with that added noise in there. Yeah, it's still pretty much the same as the first drop. All right. let me add those to my playlist real quick. All right. We did it. That was DARKSTAR, the DARKSTAR EP. Also, can we just admire the artwork? Can we admire the EP art? Can we admire everything that Eptic's ever put on an album cover? Like, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I did really enjoy Forcefield. I think that might, I don't know. It might be recency bias that, I only heard it once. I would have to return to it, but I think it's up there overall in terms of the 5. Crash Out is still my favorite for sure. And then between Alone and Forcefield, they're so different in style and in tempo that it's hard to choose between them. I like them for very different reasons. But honestly, there's not a weak song on here. These are all solid. They're all clean. They're all fun. I like that this is a pretty cohesive EP. It all sounds very Eptic-y, and it's an enjoyable time to go through. I will say I wish there was more done with the second halves of most of these songs. Light Up and Crash Out are the only 2 that have significant changes all the way through the song, while the other ones are either almost copy and paste A side and B side of the song, or might just add a little touch, a little flavor in there for the second drop. But I wish it did switch up a little more. Although I will say a lot of Eptic's music doesn't do that. It's maybe 50-50, but I do always appreciate it when a song does change in that way for the second half to keep you engaged, keep your mind entertained throughout. But I think these are all expertly produced. It's rare, if ever, that an Eptic song has turned me off because of its production. They're always professionally presented to me. It's just sometimes the synths or the style might not be for me. But in this case, I think we're 5 for 5. I didn't love every song, but I enjoyed every song. I think every song would at least go into a playlist of mine. Though I think Forcefield, Crash Out, and maybe Alone would be the only ones I would be seeking out. Like I would actually go out of my way to put those on. But if any of these came on, I would definitely listen to them. So Eptic, I will still keep your shirt. I will still continue to purchase your merch. If you have any more of the one with like the spider on it, like that green one with the spider, I think it's green, but that one with the weird spider on it in large that you could send me, I would really like that. I also need a hat. I need to buy an Eptic hat so bad. I really need an Eptic hat. I think you still have those in stock. I should buy one. Eptic, if you want to sponsor a video, I don't know how that works. You want to sponsor me? You should sponsor me. I'll shout out your merch all day long. Use code ChezzyTunes at checkout and it'll actually cost you more. I think it adds 10% to your order. So if you want to pay extra for your merch, if you want to pay extra at the Eptic merch store, use code ChezzyTunes for 10% more on checkout. But seriously, I'm a big fan of Eptic. We'll continue to be a big fan of Eptic. I think this EP was a hit. Some of the past releases from Eptic when it comes to albums and EPs are far more hit or miss. Like I usually only return to maybe 2 out of 5, maybe 3 out of 5. But this one, I think it's 5 for 5 in terms of general enjoyment, which is really saying something. I think the quality is there. I think this one's pretty solid throughout, but then it also peaks a few times as well. Eptic's not for everyone, but I feel like anyone can at least appreciate what Eptic is doing in terms of having a very distinct style. He knows who he is. He knows what his sound is. He knows what the Eptic brand is, and it's presented so well through both the music, the artwork, the merchandise, the visuals, just everything. He has a brand. Eptic is a brand that stretches far beyond just the sounds that arrive at your ears, and that is just super, super cool to witness. But what did you guys think? What did you think of the DARKSTAR EP? What do you think of Eptic? What were your favorite songs? What were your least favorite songs? Do you disagree with me completely? Maybe you aren't even an Eptic fan at all, and that is totally valid. A quick thank you to my patrons. I really appreciate your support. If you want early access to my videos, uncut versions of my reactions, bonus content every single month, and to help support me, the channel, and fund some of the competitions that I'm hosting and giving away bigger prizes to producers. Basically, if you just want to help me uplift the underground scene and reward you guys with more content, bigger prizes, and higher production videos, consider checking out the Patreon. Links in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what I should check out next. If you're a producer that wants to participate in competitions and get featured on the channel, be sure to join the Discord. And other than that, I'll catch you in the next one. And keep on jamming out, my dudes. Peace.